What up, TCK Potters? Welcome back to the program. I'm your host, Sky Guasco. This is another episode of the Candlestick Kids Fantasy Football Podcast, episode 411. Today we have a mock draft. We're going over the running back draft strategy. Today I have a special guest, my man Kyle Dozier of Boom Bust Fantasy Football. We'll bring him on in just a second. But before we do that, I want to just let you all know that we're going to purposely draft in two different running back strategies for this exercise. Now, you all know that I do not encourage, and really the fantasy football industry in general never encourages you to go into a draft and have a draft strategy concrete, right? You always want to be flexible. I know that Kyle has a certain style of draft he likes to do per usual. We'll get into that later on. I also like to draft a certain way and get certain guys in positions in certain areas. However, it doesn't always crumble the way you want it to, so you need to be flexible. So today, I am purposely doing a zero RB approach. And if you're unfamiliar with zero RB, it's the idea that you don't take a running back for at least 5 rounds, maybe 6 rounds. So you could take any other position other than a running back for the first 5 to 6 rounds. I'm going to do it that style to see what my team looks like. And Kyle is going to go the other way, and he is purposely going to draft running back heavy. So he's going to pick a running back at least the first 3 rounds, and depending on who falls to him in the 4th and 5th, he might even go heavier than that. And we're going to basically just take each side of that coin and see how our teams end up at the ending of the episode, and we will share those, of course. We do have a couple friends of ours in the mock draft, so we appreciate you joining us. We'll get that started in just 1 minute. Before we bring Kyle on, I do want to get through our sponsors and give some shout outs really quick here at the beginning of the podcast, and we'll roll into our mock draft. We're talking about draft boards. We're talking about mock drafts today. I want to give a huge shout out to our new friends at Draft Wizard Red Zone. Red Zone draft boards, yo. www.draftwithredzone.com. TCK for 10% off of your draft boards. You hear Bobby talk about this all the time. It's not just a draft board. If you're doing live drafts, right, the pandemic is loosening a little bit. For those of you that are living in states, Oregon is not one of them. Oregon is still very strict, but those of you living in states that might be a little more loose, you might be able to have a live draft this summer. If you're doing that, make sure to get a live draft board and a live draft kit. It's the board, it's the stickers, it's the trophy, it's the ring, right? It's some Smack Talk stickers as well. You can get all of that at Red Zone, draftwithredzone.com, TCK for 10% off. Hit up our friends over at Red Zone Draft Boards. Next up, we have Bomb Banana Hot Sauce, banana based, not banana flavored. Absolutely delicious when you're drafting. You can use that Bomb Banana Hot Sauce to put on your nachos, your pizza, your wings, whatever it is. Grab some Bomb Banana Hot Sauce, banana based, not banana flavored. Seekthespice.com. TCK for 10% off of this order as well. You have the white label that is a little more mild. For those of you that like spice, you have the red, the muy muy label as well. Once again, Bomb Banana, banana-based, hot sauce, seekthespice.com. And finally, our good friends at the Jersey Jungle. DM them at the Jersey Jungle on DK to save 10% off of 1 or 2 jerseys, 15% off of 3 jerseys. You can see behind me here, I have the Larry Fitzgerald and a Colin Kaepernick jersey, both of those coming from the Jersey Jungle. They are stitch and twill, just authentic like the game-worn jerseys. They're nice patches. They're not, melted on, so they come off in the dryer. These are really clean, authentically worn jerseys. You have baseball, football, basketball, soccer, hockey as well. Go to Jersey Jungle on Instagram. Hit my boy Trenton up. Use the promo code TCK for 10% off of 1 or 2 jerseys, 15% off of 3 jerseys. Shouts out to Red Zone Draft Boards, Bomb Banana Hot Sauce, and the Jersey Jungle. Without any further ado, I'd like to bring in my man, Kyle Dozier of the Boom Bust Fantasy Football Squad. What's up, brother? It's great to have you on, man. Thank you for joining us for this mock draft.
Hey, thanks for having me, man. I always love to do a good mock draft. I was actually digging the plugs there. The Red Zone draft board is kind of neat. I haven't done a board with stickers in a while.
There you go, man. Live draft board. I'm gonna be repping the rest of theirs. They're rolling out the draft boards right now. They just kicked it off in July, and they're gonna be coming out in August as well. So my home league we're about 15 years running now, and we have a live draft when we can have it. Obviously, it's been tough with the pandemic, but we always do a live draft. It's a lot of fun. So for those of you doing it, hit that up. And Look, man, first time on the podcast. I appreciate you jumping on. We got to get Broski on here eventually as well. We will do that in due time. But tell me a little bit about Boom Bust and what you guys have going on over there.
Well, basically, we decided a few months back, we're a very, very young page, decided that, hey, we love fantasy football. We're addicts, and give me some more of that football. And
aren't we all?
decided, hey, why don't we put it on the internet and see if maybe, other people enjoy us as much as we do. So, we made a YouTube channel and a Instagram page, and we've been joining leagues left and right. We've joined a charity league with you, with Dom from Fantasy Football State of Mind, and, just been turning over stones. And we've been teasing a big project over on our channel, which you've come in on, but we'll hold off on details for now on that. But that's kind of where we're at right now.
So you have a fresh account, but you guys have a lot of things cooking already, and Bobby and I had a great chat with you guys last night, and just good camaraderie right off the bat. We're in a couple leagues together as well. So TCK Potters, make sure you hit up Boom Bust Fantasy Football on Instagram. They're growing that Instagram. There's that shirt. Boom. You can even get some swag. I love that. And we got my man Kyle in, and we will have to get the rest of the team in another time. All right, man, without any further ado, let's jump into this mock draft here. I've got it pulled up on Sleeper. And I know this is kind of a squish screen. I apologize for the listeners out there. If you're watching on YouTube here, you can follow along with our draft board. If you're following after the fact on the podcast, then we will try to break it down as best we can as we go along here. Now, we do have – now, I picked the 11 spot on purpose. Again, if you find yourself at the back end of the draft, reality is you're probably not going to get top running backs anyway. So if you're there, I'm going to try to see what it looks like if you go top wide receivers instead. So I'm going to do that at zero RB approach for the exercise. And Kyle, you chose to go up front. So why did you pick number 3, and what's going to be your strategy here?
Yeah, I picked number 3. When I decided to go running back heavy, I was like, well, if you're in the top half, it's kind of the best way to illustrate how that strategy can work out. So, I just figured I'd go here and kind of illustrate. But like you said, if you're in the second half, my draft strategy would definitely change.
Yep.
And also, like you talked about in your intro, like I have other things I typically like to do, but for the purposes of this draft, I'll stick with pure running back in the first few rounds here.
There you go. And it's good. And this is what mock drafts are all about, right? Because you can try any strategy you want here and see how your team works out. And if you're like, whoa, that's actually a pretty sweet team, you note that down. If you go, you know what, maybe that's not my style, then you just
not a fan.
chuck it. Yeah, chuck it and do something else. So good idea there. All right, man. We got Lepiscopo show. Shouts out to him. He helped out tremendously in our draft guide last year, so big ups there. Lucas Kaser, of course, always in the place. Kyle's rolling at number 3. Curly in the 9 spot tonight. I'm in the 11, and, of course, we have a couple vacant spots. We're going to let the computer speed this up a little bit, and it is a mock draft, so we'll be going through this pretty quickly. Kyle, you're going to be on the clock here shortly. Why don't you talk us through who you're hoping to get out of the big 3 here? This is full PPR and redraft and single quarterback. So we're not doing super flex. This is not dynasty. This is redraft, single quarterback, and full PPR. I'm going to kick it off right now. Lepiscopo's on the clock. We have 1 minute to pick just to kind of speed it up for the podcast. Also, I'm going to go through the roster settings really quickly here while we wait. We're doing 1 quarterback, 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, a tight end, and 1 flex, just 5 bench positions. I like to have 7 plus maybe a couple IRs as well. But ultimately, it just, speeds up the podcast, honestly, and the episode. So you're on the clock here right away, man. You have, Christian McCaffrey and Alvin Kamara going number 2. That's kind of a surprise. So you got
for
your
me,
pick of the litter. What you want?
Kamara's a little bit of a surprise at 2. I was hoping to get obviously I was looking at Cook or Henry here at 3. Even in a PPR, Henry, just a monster running back, especially for redraft and everything. But I've got my pick of the 2. And for me, I'm going to go Dalvin Cook, because he's going to get those extra points for you receiving the football. And, of course, our auto draft went Oh my
Oof.
gosh.
Okay. So, and again, I'm gonna recap this best we can for the podcast listeners that can't see the screen live. CMC Kamara, you went with Dalvin Cook, Henry Barkley, Jonathan Taylor, Zeke, Nick Chubb are the first 8 picks off the board. So again, all running backs so far. We'll see what Curly does here. I'm up in 3 picks. I'm purposely not picking a running back for the exercise, but to be honest with you,
You wouldn't have been able to anyway.
I wouldn't have been able to anyway. All right, Curly goes with Travis Kelce above the wide receivers. So I'm on the clock right now, and here's the deal. This comes down to, do I believe Aaron Rodgers is going to come back to Green Bay? I do.
I do too.
And I think I will go with that. I'm going to go with Devontae Adams because assuming he plays, he's a league winner. Austin Eckler and Aaron Jones go after that. And then this one's tricky. I got to put my money where my mouth is here really quick. So I'm going to do this. But I love Stephon Diggs. I love DeAndre Hopkins. AJ Brown, Justin Jefferson. You can't go wrong with any of these guys.
No,
I thought about maybe my boy Kittle, maybe Darren Waller, because they're definitely not coming back to me. But you know what? I just did our last episode. We had our studs and our duds from the NFC West. My stud, even in the second round, was DK Metcalf. I had a 15-minute rant about how much I love DK Metcalf. And I posted on Twitter today, and it got, guns a-blazing. So I'm going to put my money where my mouth is here. And assuming Devontae Adams plays, we know what Devontae Adams is. Probably the number 1 wide receiver if he stays healthy. DK Metcalf, he's the 3rd wide receiver off the board. It might be a little bit of a reach, but the reality is here, Kyle, I don't get to pick for another 20-plus picks. I want my guys, and I'm going to go with DK Metcalf and Devontae Adams. You are back on the clock here. I'm going to roll off a couple before you get going. Hopkins, Mixon, Diggs, A.J. Brown, Akers, Justin Jefferson, Patrick Mahomes, first quarterback. Now, I know you want to go tight end here, but for the exercise, we'll go running back again. Who are you looking at?
Yeah, I definitely typically would grab George Kittle in a heartbeat right here. But for purposes of running back heavy, I'm actually going to grab Najee Harris.
I like it.
Nice little rookie running back there, drafted to be the workhorse in Pittsburgh. And I'm loving that Cook-Harris combo right there.
I think he's going to get a lot more work in the pass game than people are giving him credit for as well.
I think so too. I mean, if you look at the history, like Le'Veon Bell, how many catches a year did he have when he was the head honcho there?
You're right. All right. Well, you can make your 3rd pick here, another running back. Ridley, Antonio Gibson. That would have been nice for you to grab on the turn there. Michael Thomas and George Kittle. So you're back on the clock here. Who are you feeling for your 3rd running back?
Well, I'm skipping Dobbins intentionally because between Gus Edwards and Lamar Jackson on the goal line, and they don't throw to their running backs very often. I'm not a very big J.K. Dobbins fan. I do, however, think Clyde Edwards-Helaire has the opportunity to have a huge bounce back season in that offense. There's no way he doesn't positively regress in TDs. So that's the pick.
I like that. Dobbins goes right after you. Then we have Allen Robinson, who I love this year. Looks like he's going to play on the franchise tag this year. So he will probably be out of Chicago next year, which I love. You can probably get Allen Robinson cheap in Dynasty right now, and I would do that. Still a lot younger than I think people realize. Miles Sanders, DeAndre Swift, Terry McLaurin, Keenan Allen, who is who I wanted here. Curly took him, Chris Carson, and I am up. Okay, let's take a look here, and I believe, and that's correct, this is a no-brainer. I'm going to go with my man Darren Waller here.
That's what I was thinking too. I was like, you got to go to Waller there.
I got to go Darren Waller here. So again, I'm done at tight end. I have 2 great wide receivers. I'm going to go with another one. I wanted my man Julio too. That's okay. Josh Jacobs goes, and now I've got another one. I'm not going to go another tight end. Too early for quarterback for me yet. Mike Evans, Amari Cooper, Chris Godwin, Cooper Kupp, DJ Moore. Man, there's so many options here. Again, I don't pick for quite a while. This is tough.
There are a lot of options right here.
Yeah. This might not be popular. I might go Cooper Kupp here.
Really?
I love CeeDee Lamb. Mike Evans, Godwin. I'm not picking Amari Cooper. I'm worried about his foot. I'm worried that the Buccaneers are going to eat each other. So next up is Cooper Kupp for me. He's got the touchdown upside. He now has Matt Stafford. Kyle Pitts goes after me. Curly is back on the clock. And Kyle, you will be on the clock here in just a second. Now, for the purposes of running back heavy, if you see somebody you like here, go with one more running back. If you don't, then the floor is yours. So I'll leave that open to you now that you have your three running backs for the strategy here. But I like some of these teams already, man. Curley went with Kelsey, but he got Mixon, Keenan Allen, Demon after that. Kyler Murray goes, Mike Evans, Lamar Jackson, Mark Andrews. That's tough. I think you probably would have maybe gone Andrews there. Chris Godwin, and you were on the clock, man. Do you see a running back that you like still, or do you want to move on to another position at this point?
Let's see here.
I'm looking at, while you think about it, I'm going to read it off for podcasters. Travis Etienne, Kareem Hunt, James Robinson, Miles Boykin, Melvin Gordon. Those are the top available running backs. Wide receivers, Cooper, DJ Moore, Woods, Thielen, Chase, Lamb. Tight end, TJ Hawkinson's the last big one. And then Josh Allen, Russell Wilson, Dak Prescott, Herbert, if you wanted to go quarterback. 20 seconds.
Yeah, I am actually going to grab one more running back here. I'm going to grab Travis Etienne.
Nice. What are your thoughts on Travis Etienne? I have mixed feelings. I don't dislike him by any means. I just have mixed feelings.
I mean, obviously they drafted him high, so they're going to use him, but I don't think he's going to be a full-blown James Robinson replacement.
I agree.
I think they're going to use them both pretty creatively. He's going to get probably way more receptions than Robinson, but the kid's just too good with the ball in his hand. Like, they're going to –
Yeah, he should be able to have – yeah,
he's going to have some big games and,
I agree, and he's going to have a nice reception floor. Your team's looking really nice, man. You have Dalvin Cook, obviously a great pass catcher as well, PPR upside. Clyde Edwards-Helaire and Travis Etienne, who should be good quality pass catchers, and Najee Harris, I think, could surprise as well. So your full running back team is nasty right now. You think another running back, or do you want to move on at this point?
Actually, I'm moving on right here. I'm going to take the last of what I would consider the top of the tight ends and grab Hawkinson.
I like that move a lot. And man, you can just pound wide receiver here for what, 5-6 rounds and still get a late round quarterback if you want.
There's a lot of high upside receivers left. It's taken me a while to kind of come around on Hawkinson with Stafford leaving, but I think Goff is still going to be pretty good for him.
I agree.
The more I kind of dig in and research, and I think he's going to be. I don't think he's going to be top 3. Some guys are way high on him. I'm not that high yet, but I definitely think he's the last of before a huge drop off at the position.
I agree. Assuming he is healthy, again, I'm going 0 RB on purpose. We're in the 5th round. I'm choosing right now between Dak Prescott and Justin Herbert. Everybody knows how much I love my man Justin Herbert. I picked him in probably every other mock, so just for science, I'm going to go ahead and assume Dak Prescott is healthy, and I'm going to go with Dak here as my – it's going to come back around to me. Herbert went.
I would have taken Dak as well.
Nice. And I'm actually going to go here, and I'm looking at the wide receivers available. I'm going to go at least one more round without a running back. Let me just take a look at the running backs. Kareem Hunt, Gaskin. Kareem Hunt would be my pick. But I think I will be all right going elsewhere. Odell Beckham, who I actually think will bounce back this year.
Agreed.
Brandon Ayuk, Juju Smith-Schuster, Deontay Johnson, T. Higgins. Again, crazy depth here with wide receivers. I'm going to go with Brandon Ayuk here. I think he takes another step with eventually Trey Lance. I just highlighted him as well in our studs and duds. So I have 3 of them in that episode, believe it or not. I have DK and Brandon Ayuk, who I had as studs and breakouts, and Bobby Lamarco actually highlighted Cooper Kupp. So I've got 3 of those guys out of my 6 picks, and I feel really good about my team with 0 RB, but now it will be time to look for a running back here.
Well, there just went a whole bunch of your upside of running back right there, too.
Yep. You're absolutely right. So you are on the clock. Why don't you make your next pick, and I'll rally off what just happened here for the last
What I'm going to do is – I don't know yet. I'm looking at 3 guys here. I'm looking at Chark, Higgins, and Sutton. I think Chenault's going to get quite a few looks. DeMar Chase and Cincy. Sutton is a stud whose ADP is way too low.
I agree.
So I'm grabbing Cortland Sutton.
I think that's a good move. Let me blast off a handful of these picks here before you pick your next one, but you are going to be on the clock here again soon. I went with Dak Prescott after that, Devontae Smith and Justin Herbert. I went with Ayuk, and then we had Odell, and then a bunch of running backs: Gaskin, Hunt, Fournette, Edmonds, Gordon, Deontay Johnson. You went with Cortland Sutton. We have Javonte Williams, T. Higgins, and then it's coming back around here. We're already in the 7th round. Just quickly, how do you feel about your squad here with your first 4 picks being running backs, and then TJ Hawkinson and Cortland Sutton so far?
I'm loving it. Obviously, my running backs are sick. I got a top tight end, and my number 1 receiver is Sutton. I could definitely do a lot worse. Wait until the 6th round to take my top receiver.
Yep.
So I'm feeling pretty good about it.
Nice. I like it. I like your team a lot too.
All right. Now
what are you feeling here? Deebo Samuel and Noah Fant went off. You are back on the clock.
You know what? I'm going to go ahead and grab Chark.
All right. I got to be honest. I'm not crazy about Chark. I mean, he's got big upside. He could still be the number 1 there. It's just a matter of what are they going to actually do in Jacksonville with Trevor Lawrence and that offense. Are they going to – Laviska Shenault is there. They brought in Marvin Jones. I don't think it's a terrible pick. Just going to be interesting. Yeah, I agree.
For me, compared to everything else on the board, I didn't see anything else I was real excited about. So I just went for the upside play there, honestly.
All right. Okay, you went with DJ Chark, Juju, Trevor Lawrence, Raheem Mostert, Jerry Jeudy, Kenyon Drake, who I would have taken. I would have taken both of those guys here. Chase Claypool and Aaron Rodgers went off the board. I'm back on the clock. I have gone 6 rounds without a running back, and I need to take a look at one. There's a couple in here that I like, so I'm going to go with James Conner, who I know is not a sexy pick, but in 0 RB, I think he could be the starter for a while, and he's going to have the touchdown upside. The Cardinals run the ball more than you would think in the red zone. A lot of it last year was Kyler Murray, but Kenyon Drake was very efficient last year. He is now out. James Conner will be that guy while he stays healthy. Need another running back here. Ronald Jones is catching my eye, but there's also Mike Davis. And again, because this is 0 RB, I'm going to be picking a lot of flyers later in this draft. I want guys I can count on for the first 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks. And that guy, as much as I'm not crazy about Mike Davis this year, he's going to get the volume. He can catch the ball, as we saw last year in Carolina. I got 2 starters, in my opinion, there with James Conner and Mike Davis.
I was thinking Mike Davis also right there.
Ronald Jones goes after that. We had Mike Gesicki and Jalen Waddle go before me on my turn. Curley is back on the clock. I really like my top of my draft. Now, again, this is obviously assuming Devontae Adams plays, because clearly Devontae Adams will play. This is assuming Rodgers is back in Green Bay, and if he's not, obviously I'm screwed. But I'm going to go with Devontae Adams here. DK Metcalf has top 3 upside, in my opinion. Darren Waller also could be the tight end 1 if Kelsey slips. Cooper Kupp, I think, has wide receiver 1 upside this year with the upside and Matt Stafford coming to town and touchdown upside. Dak Prescott, if he's healthy, he could be a top 3 quarterback as well. Brandon Ayuk, James Conner, and Mike Davis. You're back on the clock, my man. Take you through your next pick.
So I need a quarterback. So I'm going to drop down here and grab Matt Stafford.
Like it.
I think he's got a lot of upside with McVay there in Los Angeles now. I almost said St. Louis. That's so long ago. Showing my age a little bit there, I guess.
That's all right, man. I grew up in the Bay Area, and I've been saying Oakland Raiders I'll probably say it the rest of my life, Okay, Matt Stafford
is still San Diego to me.
Yeah,
too.
there you go.
It's hard.
Matt Stafford off the board. Then we had Harris from the Patriots, Zach Moss, Trey Sermon, who would have been another good scoop for me if he fell, but that's just not going to happen. Yeah. And you're back up on the clock here, and one more pick. Tyler Boyd goes, and you are live.
I wanted Sermon there.
Nice.
Actually,
Me too.
I started grabbing before Stafford and decided I needed a quarterback first. There's. All right, I'm scrolling down way too far.
30 seconds.
Let's grab Rashad Bateman.
Oh, I like that pick.
I'm curious to see what he does in that offense.
I picked him up in the Scott Fish Bowl, and that's best ball. And I do expect a handful of games where he could go for 120 and 2. Big body. They don't have that guy outside of Mark Andrews in Baltimore. I like that. All right, Burrow, Watson, Brady goes off the board. Goddard, Gronk, AJ Dillon, Will Fuller. We're in the 9th round here, and I'm back on the clock. Looking for another running back. Let me take a look at the wide receivers, though, because I can still get great talent. Tight ends are done. I don't need a second quarterback yet. So running back. Nyheim Hines makes the most sense. All these guys here are handcuffs, but I think Nyheim Hines has the best chance to have his own role. Off the bat, we saw 2 games last year where he had 100 total plus yards and 2 touchdowns. I'm a fan of his gymnastic backflip touchdown celebration. So for that reason alone, I'm going to go with Nyheim Hines here in the 9th round. Corey Davis and Marquise Brown go off, and now I'm looking. Do I need another? You know what? I'm doing it. I'm going to go with my man AB. I think Antonio Brown could have a huge season last year. He only played the back half of the season last year, but in the playoffs and the Super Bowl, he went off. Brady wants him to be successful. I think that's absolutely going to happen. And of the 3 Buccaneer wide receivers, Antonio Brown still might be the best one, even 10 years older than the other guys. And he is the cheapest by 7 rounds. So,
by a lot, yeah.
So getting Antonio Brown here in the 10th, I feel is a steal. Jalen Hurd, Ryan Tannehill, Robbie Anderson, Irv Smith, Logan Thomas, Michael Pittman, Michael Gallup go off the board, and you are back on the clock.
Let's see. I'm going to slide down here a bit. I'm going to grab Gus Edwards.
Go.
Grab me another running back. I've gone long enough without another running back for a running back heavy strategy.
I like it. That's
and
good,
I think
man.
I think he's gonna get plenty of work. Personally, I would have taken him over Hines, but
okay.
It's close. I mean, it's not.
I'm just thinking PPR,
right?
Know, and Gus Edwards is going to have the work, but they're not going to catch passes there. So.
And then, okay, I'm back on the clock. So I'm also going to grab Jamal Williams. They've been talking him up in Detroit ever since he got to town.
Yep.
So I think he could be a good, flex play in a pinch on a bye weeks,
I totally agree. And we've only got 2 more or 1 more pick now. I've got 2. Wow. But I agree there. Handful of picks went off. I'm going to get through all those after I make my pick as it comes back to you. So let's see. I want to make sure I even have enough for a roster here. I've got 3 running backs. I've got everything else. I want to be eligible. So I'm going to go back to the running back.
One pick, I had to make sure I had mine full too.
Yep. Latavius Murray. And I'm going to go to Latavius Murray and Darrell Henderson here. 2 more running backs. 2 more running backs.
The best 2 left, I agree.
2 more running backs that could have their own value, touchdown upside, will get work even with Alvin Kamara and Cam Akers being the top guys most likely. But if one of those guys go down, we saw Latavius Murray be the overall number 1 running back a couple years ago when Kamara went out. And Darrell Henderson, I gushed about him on my last episode as well. So kind of feeling that. So I'm going to go Latavius Murray and Darrell Henderson. You're on the clock here, man. I'm going to buzz through the rest of these picks, make your last pick, and then we will recap here in just a second. You went with Jamal. Let's see. It was you went with Gus Edwards. Then it was Lance, Mike Williams, who I love, Tyler Higbee, Tony Pollard, Jamal Williams, Hunter Henry, Gurley, Mooney, Singletary, Tunyon, Fields, Devontae Parker. I went with Latavius Murray, Cousins, Elijah Moore, and then I went Darrell Henderson, Henry Ruggs, Gainwell, Matt Ryan, Baker Mayfield, Rondale Moore of the Cardinals, Mecole Hardman, Evan Ingram, and who is your final pick in this 12-round RB heavy PPR draft?
I grabbed Paris Campbell with Indianapolis. I think if he stays healthy, which is kind of a big if, but if he stays healthy, I mean, I think he could out-target Pittman and become a really nice target in the middle for Mr. Wentz.
I agree. And if Carson Wentz can maintain and get back to his anything close to 2017, he's going to be just fine there. Lucas went with Daniel Jones. Carson Wentz went off late, and that is our draft. Let me blow this up. I'm actually going to boot us off the screen for a second and pull this into the main screen there. Boom, make it a little bigger for y'all watching at home. All right, so let's go through these squads really quickly. Let's go with yours first, Kyle. And again, you purposely went running back heavy. And I want to reiterate, because I don't want people coming at me, you don't go into a draft saying, I'm going to draft this way. Now, Kyle can come into a draft and say, I have the number 3 pick. I'm going to get one of the 3 big dogs. And if I get somebody in the second and the third and I end up running back heavy, I'm good with that. So maybe I'll look at that way, but don't force it. You know, he wanted George Kittle there, but he fell right before him. So he went with CEH. Make sure you stay flexible. So you purposely went running back heavy for your strategy. I purposely went 0 RB. Let's take a look at these teams after the fact and break them down a little bit. Why don't you give me your entire roster first, and then we'll talk about some of your picks.
All right. Let's see. So you want me to just go through like round by round or through my actual?
Yeah, round by round's fine.
Okay. So I grabbed Dalvin Cook in the first round, Najee Harris, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Etienne, Hawkinson, Cortland Sutton, DJ Chark, Matt Stafford, Rashad Bateman, Gus Edwards, Jamal Williams, and Paris Campbell.
So of this team, who is the player that you would consider maybe a value? The player that fell to you where you're like, oh shit, they're still on the clock, I got to grab them. Who's the player that you feel with the most value here on this team?
I think it's Cortland Sutton.
All right.
I think
6'10".
Yeah, getting him in the 6th round. I think his talent level is way above where his ADP is, but I think fantasy football is what have you done for me lately?
Mm-hmm.
He gets hurt last year and everybody forgets about him. Well, that's to my benefit.
I totally agree. And especially if you're going RB heavy, your first wide receiver is still a wide receiver 1. Now, we don't know what's going on with the quarterback situation in Denver, so that's a little bit of a up in the air. But assuming Cortland Sutton can, he was doing well with Joe Flacco and Drew Lock. Teddy Bridgewater, who isn't flashy necessarily, gets it done. He had 3 top 36 wide receivers last year in Carolina. I think Judy and Sutton can both at least be wide receiver 3s, maybe wide receiver 2s, and Sutton with that upside in the red zone there. What's a draft pick on this squad here that if you were to go back through it, you might have gone another direction?
Probably the next round, Chark. I might have spent a little more time.
Let's see who was around him here. Let's revisit that pick. You're at 7-3. You can look at some of the players around him in general. I'll list them off here for the podcast. They all went before you. So who goes after him that you could have gone with? Juju, Raheem Mostert, Jerry Jeudy, Chase Claypool, Kenyon Drake, Jalen Waddle, maybe Mike Davis. Would you have taken any of those guys in hindsight over Chark?
Yeah, Mostert and maybe Claypool kind of jump out. Maybe even Mike Davis. Are all guys that I probably would have been better off grabbing. Chark's got a lot of hype around him. He's got a shot to be the number 1 guy there, but right now I don't feel super confident between him and Shenault, who is going to be top dog.
Yep. I agree with you. And again, I think we all love Trevor Lawrence long term, and we'll see what Urban Meyer does. But the reality is he is a rookie quarterback in the NFL. And we have seen rookie quarterbacks do pretty well the last couple of years. Baker Mayfield, of course, Kyler Murray played well. and then, of course, Justin Herbert, Joe Burrow last year. So we'll see what happens. But DJ Chark, I think I would agree with you that that's the one pick on the squad that I was kind of like, meh. Like I would have gone somewhere else as well. Okay, so that's a running back heavy strategy. Once again, Cook, Harris, Najee Harris, CEH, ETN, Hawkinson, Sutton, Chark, Stafford, Bateman, Edwards, Jamal Williams, and Paris Campbell. Okay, let's go to the other side here, and I'll share my team. I went with 0 RB on purpose. So I did not pick a running back purposely for 5 rounds. And then I actually chose to go another wide receiver in the 6th because I like that player. So I went 6 rounds without picking a running back. Let's see how my squad looks. First round, I went with Devontae Adams. I know this is risky. Obviously, if I hear anything negative about Rodgers, I'm not making this pick, but I'm going to assume he comes back. I feel he comes back. So I'm going to go with Devontae Adams, who's my guy, and he went after Tyreek Hill in this, so technically I'm going to take him as maybe a steal a little bit as a second wide receiver. So I'm going to take Devontae Adams in the first round. DK Metcalf, a lot of people might think this is a reach over Stephon Diggs, over Nuke Hopkins potentially. I think DK takes another step this year. Russ might be gone out of Seattle next year. That's just kind of a gut feeling I have. So regardless of what the franchise wants, Russ might want to air it out a little bit more like he did in the first half. DK Metcalf was the second wide receiver in fantasy points per game last year over the first 9 games behind only Devontae Adams before they started flipping the script and running the ball more in Seattle. If they return back to that pace, I think DK Metcalf can absolutely surprise. So I'm going to go with DK here, top of the second. Darren Waller fell to me in the 3rd round. I think that was a steal there. Cooper Kupp.
Love that pick, yeah.
And then I had we had Dak Prescott, and then I went with Brandon Ayuk instead of a running back here. All the running backs were kind of mundane. They were all the same. So I'm going to take a high upside wide receiver here, Brandon Ayuk. And then I went with James Conner, Mike Davis, Naheem Hines, Latavius Murray, and Darrell Henderson. 5 running backs out of my last 6 picks with Antonio Brown thrown in there as well. My value pick, I guess, I think this is a no-brainer here. I think you would agree. This is Darren Waller in the 3rd round. Not only the 3rd round, but the back of the 3rd round. This is this is 2 picks away from the 4th round. I don't think come draft season in the next couple of weeks, Darren Waller's fallen outside of the 2nd, let alone middle to back end of the 3rd round. So that was an automatic scoop there with Darren Waller in the 3rd. My could have gone elsewhere pick. I don't know, man.
Nothing jumps out as like
I like my top 6 picks. Now, because I was doing that strategy, it's kind of hard for me to say, I would have preferred, I don't know, Austin Eckler over DK Metcalf or something like that because it was so early. I was purposely picking wide receivers or non-running backs.
Right.
So if I'm going just nitpicking a little bit, instead of one of these backups here, instead of like Naheem Hines, for example, I could have gone with, I think, let's see, coming back around. I do like Robbie Anderson. I do like Michael Pittman, and I do like Mike Williams. I could have gone with Tony Pollard potentially, who we know what would happen in Dallas. Mm-hmm. There's some of those players, but otherwise, man, I kind of don't have a regret on this draft, to be honest, for the strategy that I went with.
Yeah, I really like the way that team turned out. I think you did pretty good with every pick there, my man.
Awesome. I appreciate it. Once again, Devontae Adams, DK Metcalf, Darren Waller, Cooper Kupp, Dak Prescott, Brandon Ayuk, James Conner, Mike Davis, Naheem Hines, Antonio Brown, Latavius Murray, and Darrell Henderson. I went 0 RB, 6 rounds without a running back. Kyle went running back heavy, 4 rounds. Now, I would say running back heavy is even just 3 rounds. You went 4 and still ended up. I mean, look, if Travis Etienne actually catches the ball the way Urban Meyer says he might, and CEH bounces back this year and just scores like 3 more touchdowns than he did last year, you're talking about the potential of maybe the number 1 overall running back in Dalvin Cook. Najee Harris, CEH, and Travis Etienne should all be at least RB2s, and I think they all have RB1 upside if the chips fall their way. Man, if you score on 3 of the 4 of those guys and the other one's like an RB2 or something, you're going to smash.
Totally. Yeah, I like and typically I do draft pretty running back heavy with the exception of an early tight end. So this was not too far off key for what I'm kind of used to doing anyways. And it's not that I go into a draft with that strategy. That's just typically how it happens to fall, So
After looking at this, and this isn't a regret, we already went through that. Maybe you're talking, DJ Chark, you would have gone elsewhere. You went RB heavy on purpose for the exercise, but George Kittle was picked one pick before you in the third round. Would you have taken him if available in a normal draft right there?
I would have taken him at 210.
Okay.
In a normal draft, I would have taken him right there.
So you're not taking the risk that he falls. Do you have Kittle or Waller higher?
Kittle for me.
Okay, so Kelsey, Kittle, Waller.
I mean, he's a higher injury risk, but the dude's ridiculous when he plays. Like I love him. I love him to death, and I can't help it.
I agree. And with a healthy running or healthy quarterback, whoever it is, Jimmy Jeter or Trey Lance is going to be better than my boy Nick Mullins or CJ Beathard this year. So if Kittle can stay healthy, they should be just fine. All right, my man. I'm gonna kick this off and bring us back here. Just a second. Boom.
Yep.
All right, man. So once again, I've been joined today by my man Kyle Dozier of Boom Bust Fantasy Football. Make sure you check them out at Boom Bust Fantasy Football on Instagram. Once again, they have a lot of things cooking. Once we have some public shareable knowledge, we will definitely be dropping that here on the podcast. You guys have some exciting things brewing, which I'm thrilled for you, and just the ideas that you have behind the scenes, I think are great for the industry in general and your page. And I appreciate what you guys are doing, just in general, trying to build yourselves up. There's a lot of up and coming accounts here, and I think you guys are doing all the right things.
I appreciate that. I really do. Yeah, I mean, we're trying to build ourselves up, but we're trying to build up the community too. Everybody, we all benefit more from supporting each other than just trying to compete against each other, So, I mean, fantasy football is about community and camaraderie, and so we're just, kind of carrying that spirit across to other pages and other channels as well. So, we're having a blast doing it, and look forward to a whole lot more fun like this.
Absolutely, man. Well, I appreciate it, brother. Thank you again for coming on. Make sure once again you follow Kyle and the rest of the team over at Boom Bust Fantasy Football on Instagram. You can also go check out, they do a lot of live stuff as well on YouTube. Check out their YouTube page. They do a lot of mock drafts and do other things as well. They bring in people from the industry, and I've chimed in on a couple of their shows as well. So you can chime in on those live feeds. Make sure to also follow the Candlestick Kids. Of course, you can follow me on Twitter at my name, Sky Guasco, SKYGUASCO. You can find us on Instagram at fantasyfootball_TCK pod. And of course, please subscribe, hit the bell, and leave a comment below right here on YouTube on which team you would prefer to have. Do you prefer to go Kyle's strategy with the running back heavy in the first 4 rounds with stud running backs, Dalvin Cook, Najee Harris, CEH, Travis Etienne? Or would you rather punt and get stud wide receivers, quarterback, and tight end, like I did at the 11th spot? Devontae Adams, DK Metcalf, Darren Waller, Cooper Kupp, Dak Prescott, Brandon Ayuk, all before my first running back. Which strategy do you prefer? Which picks do you like? Which picks do you think we may have missed on? Make sure you leave a comment below. Kyle, it's been an absolute pleasure, man. Thanks again for joining us tonight.
Yeah, thanks for having me, man. I had a good time.
All right, brother. We'll do it again soon. For my man, Kyle Dozier, and the rest of the Boom Bust Fantasy Football squad, I'm your host, Sky Guasco, and we are out of here.